Awesome. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started here. So good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be with you. We're here just the week before classes begin, but to be honest, it feels like this is it. This is go time. We've got Bandcamp starting this week. So for anyone who's viewing this video or anyone who's on the call, we've got a busy week on our hands, but we're really excited to get this thing going. It's starting to feel very real. Getting everyone here and getting the Marching Pirates back together. So first I'll introduce myself. I'm Joe Bacito. Students will call me Dr. B. I'm the director of the Marching Pirates and director of athletic bands here at East Carolina. In this position, I'll be directing both the basketball band, I'll be directing the marching band. I'm also going to be directing the symphonic band here in the School of Music, and then I'll also be leading a conducting class. On the call with me, and they're going to be adding some insights, we have a couple of our student leaders, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about them, and they may hop on and talk a little bit about their experiences in the Marching Pirates. First, we have Bryce Fields. Bryce is a junior industrial engineering tech major from Youngsville. He's one of our drumline section leaders. Second, we have Allison Schaefer. She's a sophomore elementary education major from Holly Springs. She's one of our color guard captains. And then lastly, we have Sarah Fresquez. She's a sophomore public health major. I don't know how to say that now. I don't know if it's Mebane or Mebane, or I'm just going to assume it's Mebane. And she's one of our drum majors. So you'll have to excuse me. I'm still very new to North Carolina. I've only been here for just under a month. I'm almost at a month, but I'm starting to get delayed at the land here just a little tiny bit. So today for our new student orientation, we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up this week. The answer to the question that many people have is, are we still having a band camp? Are we still having marching band? The answer to that question, to all those questions, is absolutely yes. We absolutely are full steam ahead right now for having band camp this week. We're full steam ahead for having marching band as a class this semester. Okay, there are obviously a lot of questions on the table. There are a lot of unknowns as we look at the future. There are a lot of things that we do know, but we are proceeding as business as usual, with obviously taking all the precautions that we need to with the current in the current pandemic. So the first thing I'm going to start doing is to talk to you just briefly about some of the expectations for the week ahead. So as I mentioned before, we are looking at band camp starting. We actually have our first event tomorrow. This will not affect anyone on this call unless you've already signed up to do so. But we have some students actually moving in tomorrow between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock, and I have everyone telling me that the tropical storm is going to be out of the area by the time that our move-in is supposed to begin. So I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that we can make sure that happens. Starting on the 5th, we'll have auditions starting for our color guard, our drumline, and our dance team. We'll also have our first meetings with our student leaders. But again, for the general membership and first year students, no responsibilities on the 5th. By the time that we get to the 6th, we reach Thursday. Thursday night is the first time that we actually have the full marching band getting together. We're going to be at the College Hill Field at 6 o'clock with our kickoff meeting to kind of talk about what the season is going to be. We're going to be talking about some of this health and safety protocols that we're going to be taking, and just how we're going to make this just a great experience for everybody. Obviously, that is the be-all, end-all goal for us, is for everyone to just have a great time while they're here. We're obviously building something for the future, and this year is very important to our foundation in getting that off the ground. Once so the band camp is going to go from Thursday, and then you'll have to check on our website, marchingpirates.org. It's a pretty sporadic schedule. The only day actually between now and the start of school that is a full day of marching band is Friday. That day starts at 9 o'clock and ends at 8:30 p.m. But other than that, there's a lot of time built in for you to get familiar and acclimated to campus, to find where your classes are, to run any errands that you need to run. Anything that you need to do is kind of built into our schedule. Looking ahead to the actual season, the semester begins obviously on Monday, August 10th, and we'll have our first rehearsal that day as well. So we rehearse every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. And we'll continue on that schedule up until we have our first game, and that first game right now is scheduled for August 29th against Marshall. Obviously, regarding what the football schedule is going to look like, we've got 5 home games on the schedule. We don't know if we're going to be adding another one. One of our games was canceled just due to that conference foregoing its fall sports. Again, there are a lot of things that we could expect to hear from the American Athletic Conference that could potentially impact our season as well. We're going to adjust. We're going to be flexible, and we're going to be ready to move as those things come out. But like I said, right now it's the 5 home games that you see on the football schedule, and that's our performance commitment. We're not going to be doing any kind of full band exhibition, although we are looking at some opportunities and potential for community outreach. We love to get involved, especially in the Greenville area and around Pitt County and so on and so forth. Any way that we can get the Marching Pirates out there and get them playing and entertaining, that's us fulfilling our mission. All right. So looking to some of our overall objectives, nothing's really changed. We're still going to be focusing on the tenets of performance, preparation, and students are going to enjoy that level of camaraderie that they always get from the marching band experience. You building your friend group is one of the most important things that we do here. We're going to create opportunities for you to get to know a lot of people, just not even just in your section, but kind of throughout the whole band. We have about 180 students in the band, and among that 180, we have over 50 majors represented right now. I haven't actually checked in a while, but that number is probably higher at this point, and we're zeroing in on having close to all of the undergraduate majors offered at ECU as a part of the marching band. I think that's an amazingly cool thing. We're an amazingly diverse group in terms of our interests, and I think there's great opportunity for you to find common ground with your peers, in addition to find some people that add a level of contrast to your life, and that's a really cool thing. Other things that you may be curious about, as I start to kind of shift this conversation into some of our health and safety protocols, our look is going to be a little bit different for this season. We're not going to be wearing the traditional Marching Pirates uniform. Of course, I'm very disappointed with that. I really wanted to see the Aussies and the full getup. But this year, just to make everything simple and everything machine washable, students are going to be wearing khaki shorts or khaki pants, depending on the weather. They'll be wearing athletic shoes, tennis shoes, running shoes, that sort of thing. Then we'll be giving students a polo shirt. They'll be getting 3 different colors for undershirts. They'll be getting a beanie for cold weather and a baseball cap. And that's going to constitute our uniform. Students will own every single piece of it. We'll give them, like I said, everything from the waist up. Basically, we give to them everything from the waist down. The students need to supply. But other than that, they'll be in possession of those things, and they'll be able to take care of them and clean them regularly. So as we switch and we talk a little bit about safety protocols, now that we're so close to the season beginning, we're looking at the marching band, the preseason camp in particular. I've taken a lot of time to really kind of figure this out. So some of the things that we'll be doing all the time is, of course, your mask is going to be a required component of what we do. And for many players, I'll just kind of wear it for a second. Those students that are wind players, you play clarinet, trombone, trumpet, whichever, you're still going to be wearing the mask. When you are not playing, we will have students take the mask down. They'll go ahead and play. This is what we'll call chin it, and then we'll mask up, okay, when we're not playing or when we want to talk, okay? This follows real closely with the protocols that have been outlined by ECU, the North Carolina school system. Okay, so that'll be part of what we do. The drill formations that we'll be in. So obviously, we're not going to be in the tight arc formations that you're pretty familiar with. Instead, we're going to be in large lined blocks where we're separated by 4 steps. And sometimes even more than that. So just keeping in mind, we talk about the 6 feet of circumference. Students will always be, from a front to back perspective, 4 steps apart, which, if you're doing the math on that, that's 7.5 feet. And then we'll have them separated by yard lines, and yard lines are obviously 15 feet apart. Okay, so you know, we've taken very seriously the situation and the you know, the adaptability of this virus, and its spreadability. So we've taken as many precautions as we can to make sure that you know, this is not going to be an issue for our students. At least we're doing our part to make sure that that we can mitigate to the highest level possible. Okay. Going on to what the performance opportunities are going to look like for the season, those 5 football games. We have not heard exactly what that's going to look like yet. We're fully anticipating some kind of reduced capacity at Dowdy Ficklin, and if that is going to be the case, then again, we will adapt. We'll use a smaller band. We'll rotate players. Whether we rotate through individual games, we rotate within the game. I think, you know, we're considering and preparing for all these different options, and that's really what we're doing with everything. You know, there's so many unknowns and things that we're waiting for that we're trying to be prepared for all of the possible scenarios. You know, and that's I think that's set us up to be in a pretty good position to adapt when something new comes our way. It's not to say that the unexpected is still waiting for us. I'm sure that it is, but you know, we've really tried to take seriously what our objectives are and making sure that that we can fit within the pandemic age. Okay, so that's that. Becoming a member of the Marching Pirates. I want to talk about that real briefly. That is a very, very easy thing to do. There are 2 steps. Okay. The first step is obviously getting registered for the class. Those of you that are not music majors are going to register for MUSC 1705. Okay, and you're going to want to do that either with an advisor, or you can do it through the self-serve in the Pirate Port. And then the other side of it is getting registered for Bandcamp. Okay, so at this point, this is where I'm going to switch over and I'm start sharing my screen, and you can kind of start to find some of the different things that that we have available at this time. Give me 2 seconds here. All right. So you come over here and you come to marchingpirates.org, takes you to our website. Okay. The first thing that I'll point out to you is if you are just registering for Bandcamp for the first time, you can come over here to Bandcamp and you're going to click Bandcamp Registration. You'll find that the Bandcamp registration is very intuitive. You should have the answers to all the questions. You probably will want to fill this out with a parent because we are going to ask about things like medical history. We're going to ask about insurance, just in the unforeseen circumstance that you may require medical attention during the camp. Obviously, we take all kinds of precautions to make sure that you know, you can take care of yourself, but you know, we also need to be aware of some of your background situations that allow us to help care for you in the event that you need it. Okay. Going on to a couple other things. If we're going to click on schedule for a moment, we'll let that load in 2 seconds. So if we can actually get it to load, when we actually get here, perfect. Okay, so this will take you to a calendar. Okay, and the nice thing about the calendar right now is that it actually is broken apart in each one of the dates. If I were to click on them, so for example, if I were going to come over here and click on Friday, it'll actually take me to exactly what the expectation is going to be for the day. Okay, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot more detail when it comes to how we're actually handling our time, but you're going to know exactly what our commitment is. The one thing I will say that has changed is that breakfast will not be available at Todd Dining Hall or any of the dining halls on campus that week leading up to the start of classes. They'll be on normal hours starting on August 10th, but leading up to then, there will be no breakfast. Lunch and dinner will not be a problem. So anyways, coming back to the schedule, I suggest you come over and take a look at that. Okay. We also do have a couple sections, for example, becoming a member. If you were to click on this link, it's going to break down a little bit further some of the different things to consider. class registration, what check-in is going to look like for us. Check-in for us is going to begin on tomorrow night from 6 to 8:30 p.m. That is not for dorm check-in, but for marching band check-in. And then on Wednesday, that's a full day. The freshmen, we are expecting, or we're asking that they check in between 9 and 11:30 in the morning. We're asking sophomores to check in between 1:30 and 4 o'clock, and we're asking our juniors, seniors, and our super seniors to check in on Wednesday between 6 and 8:30. Okay. You can also see, if you're going to want to see what some of the actual protocols and precautions are, all of this again has been spelled out, and essentially it goes beyond what ECU has recommended. That's what we've really tried to do, is we've tried to think of every single possible way we can engage the ideas of physical distancing and still making sure that we can operate and work together as a unit. Okay, and I think that we're going to be able to do both. There are going to be opportunities for virtual music instruction. Obviously, a lot of this can't happen in the dorms unless your neighbors are super excited to hear you play your individual part of the fight song. But we have protocols in place to make sure that you can play or that you can participate in a virtual music rehearsal. Okay. I want to skip now and maybe head over to, so the rest of these you can pretty much kind of check on your own. I think our website is robust. You know, as information changes rapidly, we try to update it as rapidly as possible. But there are still some things that you'll find in here that do need to be updated from time to time. Clicking on the student portal, this will be the last thing that I'll want to share with you. And then we can start to talk about some general experience things and some questions you might have. So first and foremost, coming over to the student portal is the first time you come here, it will be a password protected section of the website. You'll just have to enter the password as capital ECU, then lowercase MP 2020. So again, that's capital ECU, lowercase MP 2020. And once you log in here, there's a lot of different things that you can actually view. Okay, I'm going to click on, I'm going to start with the music. Okay, so things that we're actually trying to slowly and steadily build into the music portion of the site. First of all, we have the fundamentals routine. We have all of our stands and show music. I'm going to click on that in just a second. And then all of our pre-game music is all separated by instrument. The same thing goes for stands, tunes, and show music. We have everything digital, and it's one of the big things that we're doing here in the Marching Pirates this season is we're going all digital with all aspects of what we're doing. So, for example, if I play Clarinet 1 and I'm looking for stands music, everything is in here. So they'll just have to open, players will just have to open one folder, click on the music, and then we're going to be using these really cool devices, and I'll actually pull this up while I'm sitting here. We're going to be using these devices called E-flips this year, okay? And you can see a couple different examples of how these are going to work. For example, here's what the piccolo E-flip looks like. So we're used to the traditional lyre and flip folder that attaches to the arm. So instead, what you'll see here, I don't know if I can zoom in, I won't let me zoom in, but you'll see that there's actually, this is a better picture up here, that there's a little clamp, sort of like a clamp that you'll have in your car for your phone. So all the instruments will be equipped with the E-flips. So you'll just need to supply, for most of the instruments, you'll need to supply a traditional lyre. These, fortunately, for the piccolo and the trombone, they have special lyres that they'll have kind of all-in-one solutions. All the other instruments will require the traditional lyre setup in order to use these. So students will use their phones for music. They'll be using their phones for drill. When we actually go to use drill, let's see if I can actually pull this up real quick as well. The app that we'll be using for that is Ultimate Drill Book, okay? And so you probably want to spend a little time, especially if you're going to be joining us, you'll want to spend some time actually looking at this site. UDB just, it does not, they don't just work with the drum and bugle corps. They work with numerous high schools and numerous colleges. The information that the app provides is outstanding. It syncs music so you can see how drill transitions work and how they coordinate with music. You can see who's around you. You can see your actual coordinates. You can kind of see that in this picture here. We'll also be doing some things with attendance, using location monitoring and things like that. It's really a terrific app that everyone will have to use. Obviously, in order to use the music side of it, you'll probably want to have just the Google Drive app on your phone. The last thing that you'll want to do, especially if you're going to be joining the band at this point, is you're going to want to be a part of our Remind 101 notifications. And that's a mass communication system that I use to update the band. I sent a really important one out earlier today. We originally had, we had to change our schedule for move-ins and marching band check-in for tomorrow. So again, if you're joining the band, at this stage of the game, as soon as I see you add to the class the registration, I'll make sure that you're added. You can also reach out to me via email, and I'll make sure that you're added to those groups so you're receiving notifications. But it's very important that you are a part of Remind 101 to stay in touch with how we're communicating with the membership of the Marching Pirates this year. Okay. Other things that you're going to want to look at if you're going to be using so for example, other issues that come up, class conflicts are frequent issues for our students. So if you have a conflict, you'll obviously email me, and you also fill out this form, and we'll keep track of that. If you're going to be using one of our instruments, we have instruments from piccolos, clarinets, alto, tenor sax, we have mellophones, baritones, sousaphones, trombones, and obviously all the drumline equipment. All of those things we'll have students fill out contracts for. If you have tardies that we need to be aware of, or performances you need to be late for, you need to miss, those are things that we need to talk about, and the forms can be found here. So your student portal is extremely important, and I highly recommend that you spend some time here just checking out all the resources that are available to you. Okay, so I'm going to circle back around here and just kind of talk just real briefly again about what the expectations are for the week. You know, we're looking at a very, very short band camp because, as you know, we are not going to be on the football field this season, at least not at Daddy Ficklin. You know, my plan is for us to start doing some drill again as soon as possible, and maybe just doing that just for ourselves, if not recording some of those performances and having them broadcast on the video board at the stadium. All right, but for right now, we know that we're going to be in the stands. We know that we're going to be playing a lot and often. And we, at this time, we're still thinking that we're going to be parading. We're still going to be doing the march down at the stadium and doing everything that goes along with that. So I've already begun to set up what that parade block is going to look like. And that's largely what we're going to be practicing, is actually how we're going to move from our field to the stadium. We're going to be spending a lot of time practicing what we look like in the stands and what we sound like in the stands. You know, so those objectives are things that a lot of those things are things that we don't normally get to do. We usually spend the majority of our time just trying to become familiar with the drill and the music that we have to play for each of our shows. And it's really easy sometimes for us to kind of forget that these other details exist. It's really important to me that, you know, the models that we think about as being some of the very best college bands in the country, they don't just do halftime really well. They don't just do pregame really well. They do everything really well. Okay, so if we're going to be models for not just the AAC, but maybe for one of the models for collegiate bands, we need to make sure that we do everything at a very high level. And that includes what we do in the stands. It includes the march down. Okay, I've told the students, and I'll tell you now that the standards and expectations for our students are going to be quite high. We'll expect a lot of you in terms of performance. We'll expect a lot of you academically as well. The average GPA for our band right now is 3.3, and I'm going to continue to push our students to make sure that they're balancing their time appropriately to make sure they can do that. I can tell you for many of the students that are in the band. So we have 180 students in the group. About 90 of them still also participate in clubs in addition to marching band. So you don't have to choose. You can do clubs, you can be involved in other activities that you want to do, and you can still participate in marching band, and you can operate with us at a very high level. We will teach you about time management. It's one of the most important things that you'll do as a member of the marching band. And it will ensure that you can be successful with your peers. You can take care of your responsibilities with us, and you can take care of yourself too, so that you're not getting lost and you're not getting stuck behind. Okay, your peers are always going to be there. It's one of the good things that I love about a marching band is that we have this built-in group of people that will support each other no matter what. And that's going to be one of the values that I push, especially this season, when there's so much weight on our shoulders, when the expectations are so unknown, and yet they're still so much different than anything we've experienced before. Okay, so that's that. Like I said, if you want to be part of the marching band, this is we're sort of in overtime here. We had originally closed our registration on the 1st. It is still open. You're more than welcome to sign up. We'd love to have you. We still have room for you. We have room for your friends. I'm not going to stop adding people until the ad drop period closes, which I believe is August 14th. So right now we're still full steam ahead, trying to get as many people involved in the Marching Pirates as possible. And right now I'm super excited with who we have. We've got 180 students, and it sounds we've got an enthusiastic group that I think is ready to go and ready to do something that gets them out of their houses, gets them out of their dorms, gets them moving. I know you and me and all of us, we've maybe been kind of just stuck in a rut, and I can't wait to get out on the football field and just listen to people play and give musical feedback and just try to be great at something like that. Just feels really good, and I can't wait to do it this week, and I hope that you want to be a part of it too. Okay. So right now, I'm sort of at the end of my little portion here. So like I said, we have Bryce from the Drumline, we've got Allison from the Color Guard, we've got Sarah, who's one of our drum majors, and I just want to kind of turn the microphone over to them. Bryce, if you wouldn't mind talking just for a little bit about Drumline Auditions, and then if you also wouldn't mind just talking about maybe just a little bit about your experience in the Marching Pirates, and any advice you might have for incoming students, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Bryce. So first off, for auditions for Drumline, they're gonna be, I think they're gonna be later in the day. It's mostly gonna be freshmen. If most upperclassmen are just gonna get put somewhere where it's like probably where they were last year, just so that we can make it faster, more streamlined. My marching band experience has been a great experience so far. It's one of my favorite things about going to ECU. It's a lot of fun. I made a lot of new friends. Man, of course, I asked to talk and I can't think of anything to talk about. It is really hard to get into though. It's a lot like high school marching band, but it's also a lot different from high school marching band, especially this year. But there's no competitions, there's no long bus rides, but there is a lot of hard work that still goes into it. There's still a lot of performing to be, the best you can be. But in the end, it all pays off, especially that first day that you walk out onto the field or into the stadium and you see all the fans there and you start playing and pregame hits and everything's just going crazy and your adrenaline's pumping. It's one of the best feelings I can think of. But, yeah.
That's awesome, Bryce. Yeah, and I can definitely concur. I remember my college band experience, and just thinking about some of my teaching experiences too, with regard to how college band differs from high school, especially. It is an adjustment for students, for sure. Um, the one thing, and the one thing I would share, especially with prospective students, is that, my standards, I came from, for example, the drum and bugle corps background that I came from, we were competitive, obviously, but we never compared ourselves to anybody. We had our own standards. We had our own pursuits for what we wanted excellence to be, and it worked very well for us. I won a world championship when I was a member of the Cavaliers. And we did that while not thinking about the competition. We thought about ourselves, and that's going to be that's going to be a very important part of my philosophy as well. So thank you for bringing that up, Bryce. I want to turn it over to Allison. Allison's one of our color guard captains. Allison, I wonder if you could also talk a little bit about color guard auditions, and then also maybe talk a little bit about your experience and any advice you might have for incoming students.
Okay, I don't know if you can see me. There we go. Okay, so hi, I'm Allison. Like he said, I'm one of the guard section leaders. And guard tryouts will happen on the 5th, probably around 12 o'clock. It's really simple. We'll just be doing, a combination and stuff that the instructor will teach us, and we'll be doing like normal drop spins and tosses and stuff. Really simple. As far as college marching band goes, I've really enjoyed it. It's a lot different from high school, like Bryce said, but in a really good way. Like in high school, you go to all these competitions and you're, stressed out about placing and doing well and beating people, maybe your rival school, all those things. But, in college, you're really just focusing on performing and being the best that you can be in that sense. So it kind of brings down the stress a little bit of, trying to be perfect in that way. But yeah, no, I think especially with us not being able to be on the field this year, it's going to be really different. But my personal favorite part is marching up the hill, because you get to see all like everyone tailgating and stuff, and you really get to like be up close and personal with everyone. And it's just a really great experience in general. So I think that the difference between high school and college is an adjustment, but I think it's really nice.
That is awesome. That's great. Appreciate the contribution, Allison. Yeah, that's great. So I'm gonna close it out with Sarah. So Sarah is a sophomore as well, and she's one of our drum majors. So this is Sarah. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is your first year as a drum major. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. I'm very excited to start.
That's great. So, talk to us a little bit about, what your experience has been, and, kind of what some advice you might have, and then maybe talk a little bit about what your expectations for this season are as well.
Okay. So, my background, I have marched since my freshman year of high school. I actually changed band programs and went to like 3 different high schools before moving here. So I've had a really diverse background. But when I came to the Marching Pirates, I felt right at home. And that's something that I haven't yet gotten out of high school. And I love that because the whole group is a real unit. I mean, you may have your sections, which you automatically will just grow very close to from the beginning, but you can make friends with every section, no problem. And they are all so very welcoming and very happy for you to be there. And especially on game days, it is so exciting. And I came up with a term myself from one of my high schools. I'm bringing it. We get all excited because it's game day. It's all like one word. It's game day, and we're always just hyping it up, and we're just all so excited to be there. No matter what your background, your major is, we're just all a big family, and that never changes with it being 180 people to 200 people, and you just connect with the crowd. You connect with all the alumni, all the support, and it's just an amazing feeling that just is not matched at all by high schools. And definitely for a freshman, I'd say do not be daunted by that. I know a big thing for the Pirates in general is to be undaunted, and that's definitely true when it comes to the Marching Pirates. I absolutely encourage everybody to try, whether you have experience in like a lower level high school marching band or someone who goes off and competes like across state lines. It doesn't matter where you come from. We want you here. We are so excited for you to be here, and I am definitely very excited to see you all up from the podium.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. I mean, and y'all can just kind of see. I mean, what's exciting for me is, I'm sort of just getting a vision for what this is going to look like. I haven't actually seen any of it yet. I haven't seen, the way that the way the game day is going to go, and the way the fans interact with the band, and and how much this community loves the Marching Pirates. I can't wait to see that. The passion that I've gotten from a lot of the from our student leaders especially. I mean, it's just got me all kinds of excited for the week ahead. I mean, I sure hope this tropical storm just gets out of here and we can just get to work. So yeah, Sarah, thank you so much. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, I have one more thing.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so I realized I forgot to answer expectations for this year. I wanted to add that I especially am focusing on the communication aspect, and I'm trying to make sure to put myself out there, and one of those ways is through Instagram. We have 3 accounts for the Marching Pirates, one of them being the main one, and then we have a woodwind and brass one, and I'm pretty sure that Drumline and Color Guard have their own. But I know the drum majors ourselves are managing the winds accounts. So make sure to give us a follow.
Awesome. Yep, great. Thank you, Sarah. Good. I saw one just quick thing from Bryce. Audition starting at 9 p.m. after check-in. So that'll be, 9 a.m. on Wednesday, okay, is when they'll start for Drumline. So that full schedule, our drum instructor actually, he sent it to me this morning. So when if you're going to be a part of the Drumline, and I see you signed up, I'll make sure that you get that schedule as well. So you can be just kind of checked in and tuned into what they're doing, okay? So for everyone out there, does anyone have any questions for me or for the panel? And it's okay if there aren't. We've actually, I think we've tackled a lot here today. Okay, cool. Well, seeing none, that's totally fine. I am always accessible by email. Strongly encourage you to just shoot me a line if you have any questions that pop up. My email address you can find on the website. I don't necessarily need to spell it out here. You can also call the office. That phone number is in the contact for the Marching Pirates. Visit marchingpirates.org. Check out some of the information that we have listed there. And that should be able to answer some things as well. So, like I said, we're looking for a great 2020 season. We don't know what the future has in store for us, but I know we're going to adapt. I know we're going to have a season. We've got Bandcamp coming up here, and the only thing I suppose that'll stop me at this point is the flood in the rehearsal field. But in all seriousness, we're gonna do everything we can to have a great experience for our students this season. So I'm looking forward to working with everybody. I'm looking forward to everything that we can do. So that's that. Thanks, everyone. Corey, that wraps it up.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Joe. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day, and go Pirates.
Go Pirates. See you guys.